Kirk Duckwall here with Mastermind the Market, your real estate stats update for the Twin Cities area for February 2026. All right, so does the groundhog seeing his shadow mean that we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter market? Well, not exactly, but we have experienced a delayed market, so we'll dive into how that's going to impact our market coming up. Also, the crystal ball that we're using to see where showing activity is headed, whether it's going up or it's going to pop and go down. So we'll talk about that as well. But first, make sure you like or subscribe to these videos if you like them. Also, I don't have any classes on the books officially yet, but we are working on getting a couple scheduled. One is for our hack home buying class, great for first-time buyers, but also second or third time as a refresher course, or for those looking at getting into investment real estate. I have some great tips regarding that we put into the class now as well. Also, a class on inspections and disclosures, navigation and negotiation. So whether that's city required inspections, home buyer inspections, how to know the good ones from the bad for those private inspections, as well as what disclosures do you need or are required to fill out, and then the negotiation process on after reviewing disclosures or inspections. So great class for home buyers and home sellers. All right, let's dive into what's happening here currently in our Twin Cities market. All right, so watching the inventory of homes lining up real close now with where it was last year. That's going to be beneficial to sellers out there as inventory tightens a little bit. Not so great for buyers. So we watch the inventory going from 7608 down to 7509. By the time we do our next video, we probably will have passed the low inventory mark. Last year, that was right around 7,200 listings. All right, pending sales, that is tracking behind, but there are signs we'll get into here in a second that we should be seeing those picking up as well. And then new listings, that is jumping. That is good news there for buyers watching more options come onto the market. So 912 jumping to 1031, down ever so slightly in comparison to last year. All right, some of the more nuanced stats in the marketplace. Showings per week per listing. Kind of median price range 250 to 500K. Average, we're watching that go up. Last time I did this video, we were around 3, and now we're at 3.88. When this crosses the 4 mark, it's getting pretty darn competitive. Now you can see, yes, we are going up, but in comparison to last year, we are tracking behind. The good news is, since a few weeks ago, our difference in how far we're tracking behind is not nearly as great. So we see down 25, 24, 30%, now only down 12. The bigger news is showing activity. Big jump there. All right, so we watch it go 17 to 2,094 up to 2,380. This was running behind 28, 30, 21%, now up 4%. And that's for all brokerages, all showings and listings across the Twin Cities area, or a majority of it, of a change there. So that's a pretty big percentage change. Very positive news. Now here's our crystal ball. We're looking at what are we seeing within the MLS system for average 14-day view rate, and that is going up, which we would expect at this time of year, but it is positive. We're watching that kind of come out of its low right before Christmas, and now we're at a 60.7. As we've seen that go up, we've seen the future showings. That basically means, what's happening as far as showings booked out into the future, watching that rise as well. And then a new thing we're going to be tracking, and I'll dive more into this probably in my next video, but that's like the percentage of engagement within the marketplace. I'm expecting that to pick up over the next few weeks too. But kind of a short little prediction here. We can see 257 future showings. That ended up leading to about 2696 on the showing rate. Then it drops to 173. This, again, is kind of coming into that Thanksgiving timeline. Yeah, we expect it to slow down. So then we watch showings drop to 2131. We can see here we were at 203, which causes this to jump up to about 2094. Then it goes to 229, causes it to jump up to 2380, and now 245. So I would not be surprised to see our showing rate jump up into that 2600 percentage here coming up this next week. Why is this valuable? Well, you can see with whether it's economic, whether it's weather, no matter what might be going on, how are the consumers engaging in their searches and then into the showings, kind of trying to get an idea, is this a good time to potentially buy or a good time to come to market, so you know where that activity is heading. A couple other notable points there. We're watching the days on market dropping 42.1 down to 37.4. Break that down into a nuance. That's all homes. If you look at the houses that are being listed in the last 14 days, that drops to about 7 to a 10-day average time on market. So things are really starting to pick up. Cancellation rate goes from 9% down to 8%. Foreclosure, it is hitting kind of its high mark for the season, but that's pretty normal. And the market meter hits a 4.3. Let's talk about that market meter just a hair more here. So looking at the market meter, we can see jumps up 3.91 up to 4.3. That puts us in solid, stable market territory. So for sellers out there, this is kind of the time you can be coming to market or getting ready for the market. I mentioned, where are we heading with the 6 more weeks of winter market? No, we're kind of coming out of it. We had, though, about 4 extra weeks of winter market than what we kind of anticipated. Normally, we would be in that full-on seller's market range by now, and now we're just kind of heading towards it in that stable market. If you are coming to market, or if you're a buyer, this is what to expect. We kind of expect a kind of drawn out spring market at this point. It kind of got condensed, and now it's going to draw itself, where you can see here it kind of peaks and drops. The year before, it draws itself out. That's kind of what we're expecting here. So it's currently predicting kind of a double peak March 1st, and then again in the mid to later April. Wouldn't bank necessarily on that. What I would bank on is once it really kind of warms up, that we'll see things drop off. I mean, temperature-wise. And that's because when we get the condensed market, that demand pushes, people want to jump on it, and interest rates lining up now below 6%, I think may drive us into that situation. So there it is, interest rates right around 6%, maybe slightly above, maybe slightly below, depending on the lenders and your situation that you're looking at, could make it a little bit more competitive, drive to push to buy. So if I was a seller, I'd be banking on kind of coming to market within the next few weeks, next month max. For buyers, being that we're still unstable, you have this little opportunity kind of wrapping up here, but then you might want to just be a little bit more diligent to make sure you're not looking at homes that are in the overpaying situation. Just looked at one this last week. That's exactly what was happening. Home is probably going to go for 30 to 40K more than it would have this last fall. So just make sure you're double checking the real values of those homes and not just assuming the list price is an accurate reflection of value. All right, hopefully you found this information valuable. As always, you can reach out with any questions. Take care and have a great rest of the week.